What is going on, guys? So lately I have been doing a bunch of Walking Dead rankings, and I decided today I would do another one. I ranked the seasons and I ranked all the characters. We did tier makers for those. This is just going to be a straight up top 10 though, because we are doing the top 10 best scenes from The Walking Dead, from the main series, not talking about Fear or World Beyond or any of that other stuff, just the main series from season 1 all the way up to the current season 11B. 10 scenes, that's it. Now, what do I define as a scene? Really anything that's just within a certain period of time. I can define a scene as whatever I want it to be. It's my rules. If I want a scene to be 30 minutes long, I'm going to make it 30 minutes long. If I want the scene to be a minute long, I'll make it a minute long. Some of these are a little exaggerated, a little bit longer than what it actually is, but whatever. It's my video. I can do what I want. But in general, these are my favorite moments, scenes, whatever you want to call it, from the entire show. I tend to like scenes more that are usually more emotional, that have a lot of payoff, that have a lot of impact. Those are the scenes that mean most to me. I'm not just ranking it based on what scenes are more entertaining. It's a lot to do with the impact it has on the story and the emotion that it brings. So you're going to see some deaths here, some character deaths, because those tend to have a lot of impact, and those moments usually tend to be the scenes that I gravitate towards. But there's also some scenes here that don't involve death and are just really good for another reason. So let's jump right into this, starting with the number 10 spot. In the number 10 spot, I have Carol shooting Lizzie. So, of course, this is season 4, episode 14. You can kind of also include the scene when Carol and Tyrese first find that Lizzie has killed Mika, her little sister. This was one of the most interesting storylines in the entire Walking Dead. It was kind of a season thing that was just only in season 4, and you had Lizzie and Mika being kind of developed as essentially Carol's adopted daughters at that point, because their father was killed in the prison sickness arc. And, obviously Carol having a daughter prior, it made sense for her to, kind of be their mother figure, but she didn't really want to be it. It was clear she didn't want to be a mother figure. She just knew she had to protect them, and she had to do whatever it takes to protect them. And the fact that she got to this point where she failed, and the only reason she failed as being a mother here to them was mainly because she was preoccupied with a lot of other things going on in her mind at that point, specifically the fact that she killed Karen and David, which was another really interesting story for Carol in season 4. So that kind of probably caused to cloud her mind a little bit, and she wasn't thinking straight when leaving Lizzie and Mika behind. Because everyone always kind of point that out, kind of always thought of, why would she leave them there to just do whatever they want at the house? That's not good to leave kids there by themselves. I honestly think a part of it was just clouded judgment. Even Tyrese had clouded judgment. He had a bunch of things going on at that point in the series where he lost, Karen. And I really like how they did that. And they were preoccupied with a long discussion about that situation. And obviously, Carol almost told Tyrese in that moment, but didn't. It took a little bit longer to do it. And I really like how that's almost like what kind of caused this to happen. Then she comes back, and that happened. Lizzie killed Mika, all because she was kind of crazy and thought that people were better as walkers, that we're gonna become that. Walkers are people too, that sort of a thing, and it's okay to be one. And she wanted to kind of prove them wrong, so she wanted to kill her sister to do that, and shit was crazy. And I really like how Carol found the only solution being that she has to kill Lizzie. There's no other solution. It's the only humane thing to do. They can't just leave her, but they can't be with her either. So it's just how it has to be. And I really think this is the turning point for Carol's character completely. This is where she changes as a person and she becomes a completely new character. Number 9 is going to be the build-up to the Whisperer battle at Hilltop, season 10, episode 11. And I might as well just include the battle too, but I honestly don't think this Whisperer battle was that fantastic. I thought the part of it in episode 11 were much better than the parts of it in episode 12. It was kind of just quick, kind of not much happened in the episode 12 portion of the battle. But what I love and what I think is the best scene here is the build-up to this battle. So there's about a whole episode worth of dialogue there that builds up to this battle, but in particular the last 5 minutes before the battle, you have a couple different conversations, and I'm going to kind of pinpoint a couple of them. First of all, you have Eugene singing on the radio to Stephanie, and we thought it was Stephanie at that time. And I really like how they have this montage of everyone getting ready for the battle and such in the scene, and Eugene actually has a pretty damn good singing voice. And then we start to see characters talking to each other and kind of getting ready and prepared. One conversation in particular that I really loved was the one between Daryl and Ezekiel, how they kind of have this agreement that whatever they do, they protect the kids no matter what. But that was a really good discussion. And it really, you can tell here, they're low on people. Like, we don't have a lot of our main people here. A lot of our characters were either getting killed off at this point or left for whatever reason. Some people were still at Alexandria as well. Like, we didn't have a lot of people here. So it was really interesting seeing the characters who are there kind of coming together and just being like, we got to do what we got to do. You know, this might not go well, but we got to really try. And then Daryl and Judith have a conversation, which I thought was incredible as well. Daryl tells Judith, you know, you got to protect RJ at all costs. And, you know, Judith's she wants to be involved, but Daryl's, you know, saying the typical, like, oh, you know. And I really like Daryl's response to Judith here. Instead of it being just like, no, stay here, just do it, you know, do what I tell you to do, like a lot of parents do. He says, like, I know you're not scared, but maybe I'm a little scared for you. You know, I think that was a really good response. I really love that scene. And then, of course, you know, he gets the jacket from Judith, and, you know, she like draw on it. That was a really nice moment. And then another scene, Daryl talking to Carol in this moment, and, you know, obviously they've had a lot of stuff happening this season, and I really like, you know, he just simply just said, I'm never gonna hate you. Simple as that. All right, short but sweet. And then we get probably the like coolest like moment in terms of how it works off of the soundtrack, because the soundtrack in this scene is incredible. Like, I would say 90% of what makes this scene so good is the music. But seeing Daryl walking towards the crowd, he picks up that like Morning Star weapon, and he walks out, and the music is just hitting, and everyone's just getting ready. And then we get a little battle that starts, and then it's just a really damn good scene. Everything about it was really executed, in my opinion, perfectly. This is definitely one of my favorite episodes of season 10. I don't like season 10 that much, you guys know that, but this is definitely a highlight of this season for me. Number 8 is going to be the Pikes. So the Pikes scene in season 9, episode 15, it would be much better, I think, much higher, if I actually liked the picks for the Pikes. I still don't like the choices they went with. I don't think they had as much impact as they should have. But the scene itself is just brilliantly executed, except for one thing, except for one little thing. And that one little thing is the fact that they kind of fake us out. Well, other than the fact that I didn't like the choices, but in terms of faking us out for Tara's death to make us think it's Rosita, and then it reveals it to be Tara, I hated that so much because it took away the impact of it being Tara. Because you don't have people going, oh my god, it's Tara. You have people going, oh, thank god it's not Rosita. Because you tricked us to think it's Rosita for half a second, because you made, you know, Gabriel questioning where someone is. So obviously everyone's going to think it's Rosita in that split second. That's not a reaction you want from people. I've seen plenty of reactions from people, videos of that scene. A lot of people are like, oh, thank god it's not Rosita. You don't want people to say that. You want people to be shocked and heartbroken by Tara dying, but they weren't. But in terms of the execution, otherwise, again, the music's incredible in this scene. The build up to it is phenomenal. Just seeing them in the distance, and then slowly getting the reveals. Everyone's kind of like covering their mouth. They're like, holy shit. And we see them, and then we see like people, you know, it flashes to people at the fair at Kingdom, and they're like asking like where the person is, and then we see their head on the pike, and it looks really good. And then of course the reveal of it being Henry was really well executed, especially with the way Daryl runs up to Carol and kind of tries to shield her from it. I thought that was really good. And I actually really couldn't choose between these two scenes, so I did tie this with another scene. I do this actually one more time because I just couldn't pick. And these scenes are very similar to me because they both impact Carol, in terms of Carol seeing someone die that she was close to. And this would obviously be Sophia walking out of the barn. I had to tie this with that because there's just no way I wanted to not include it, but I thought this was kind of a similar scene in that way, and the fact that it affects Carol in terms of one of her loved ones dying. I mean, I guess the Lizzie and Mika thing would be kind of like that too. I guess a lot of the scenes of Carol's loved ones dying tend to be good scenes. I don't know. But of course, Sophia walking out of the barn is another fantastically executed scene that has a really awesome build-up and really beautiful music, and it's really heartbreaking and sad, and you get to see Carol just bring out all this emotion, and Melissa McBride does a great job with that performance both times. And they're 7 years apart for both these scenes, but they're both really cool in the way they mirror each other. Daryl's also holding her back in both of them, so really awesome scenes, both of these. So yeah, not much else to say there. Number 7 is going to be Rick's bridge sacrifice in season 9, episode 15. So this is another really important moment for the show, of course. This is Rick's exit. And for an exit, I thought it worked, right? I think there's a lot of people who were kind of concerned of like, would Rick have survived that? I've seen people survive crazier things before, so I'm not really against him surviving in that situation. And I think the way they reveal him being alive is good. The fact that they reveal it right away, don't waste any time, don't make us, sit here for, episodes upon episodes guessing, is he still alive? No, they just straight up reveal it right away. I really like that. Just like these other scenes, the music is amazing. The music definitely helps out a lot. Really great build up to the scene. But I love how it starts. Actually, I'm gonna start the scene way back when he first hallucinates them coming to the rescue, but that's not actually real. And then the moment he realizes that the hallucinations and it's not real, and he just sees the herd coming, that's like the most depressing, hopeless moment in the Walking Dead history, where you're like, dude, it's over. Like, how the hell is Rick gonna survive this? He's bleeding out like crazy, and there is a ton of walkers right behind him. Like, what could he possibly do to get out of this alive? And he makes the hard decision to blow up the bridge because he knows that if he lets the walkers go, they're going to possibly get to Alexandria and all the other communities, and that's not what he wants. So he blows up the bridge while he's on it. Could he have stepped back a little bit further, maybe to save himself? Yeah, but then it'll be harder to hit the shot. I think the reason why he had to be so close was because he knew he had to hit the shot of the dynamite, and it'll be kind of hard to hit it from a distance. And he couldn't even walk anymore because he was losing so much blood. So I think that's why he made that decision so fast. And I think it worked. And I like the outcome of it. And it's a really just well done scene. The only thing I don't like about it is Daryl is hitting way too many easy shots with that crossbow. He's like hitting freaking cross map hits with that crossbow. I know he's really good with it, but like that's a little too good, I think. Like, it's not that easy to use those things, like especially from that distance with that accuracy with a moving target. I mean, chill out with that. Number 6 is gonna be when Rick kills Shane in season 2, episode 12. So Shane, one of the best characters in The Walking Dead's history. He's definitely the highlight of season 2. And this is the payoff of this buildup of this entire storyline that's been going on since season 1, episode 1, with the whole Shane, Lori, Rick love triangle thing, right? This is the buildup to that. This is the payoff. And it definitely delivers, right? Having Shane bring Rick out in the woods just to kill him, and that's the dialogue that they have. It's the dialogue in this talk that they have that it's just so meaningful and so important to Rick's character for the rest of the damn show.
No, I will not. What happened, Rick? I thought you weren't the good guy anymore. Ain't that what you said? Even right here, right now, you ain't gonna fight for him. I'm a better father than you, Rick. I'm better for Lori than you, man. It's because I'm a better man than you, Rick, because I can be here and I'll fight for it. But you come back here and you just destroy everything.
The fact that he's told by Shane that he does not think he can... I mean, he said this before, actually, but he says it again here, that he does not think he can keep Lori and Carl safe. He does not trust him. He does not want him there. He wants to be in Rick's place, and Shane is just the most honest he's ever been at this point in the show with him. Shane used to lie and manipulate all the time, but at this point he's completely honest because he thinks he's going to kill Rick right here, but he hesitates because he knows Rick's still his brother. It's going to be hard to do it. He really just wants to hear Rick out, and deep down you can tell he wants to not do it. And I think he was about to give Rick the gun. I think he was, but Rick said, I can't deal with this shit no more. I can't deal with him possibly having an outbreak, another rage or moment, another couple episodes, or not a couple episodes, a couple days or whatever from now, and causing me to die or trying to kill me again or something. So he just takes matters into his own hand, kills Shane. And I think it's one of the best moments in the show. It really is. And again, it really makes a big impact on this character going into season 3 for sure. Number 5 is going to be probably a very unpopular one, but it's a very personal one, I think. That's Lori's death. So Lori's death, this scene, is the scene that got me into The Walking Dead. I started watching this show at the end of season 2 for the final episode of season 2 when the finale hit. but I didn't really get into the show at that point. I thought, oh, okay, this is fun, sure. But once I stuck around and I decided to watch season 3, it wasn't until episode 4 when Lori died when the show really hit me. I didn't even know the show that much. I didn't even go back to watch season 1 and 2. I was literally just watching the new episodes. I don't know why I did that, but whatever, I did that anyways. And I saw this episode. I didn't even know these characters that well. But Lori's death hit me so hard. You know, obviously part of it is because I have a mother myself, so I was like kind of putting myself in the shoes of Carl, I guess. So I was like, oh my, what if my mother died? You know, it was kind of like one of those things. And it hit me. I was like a 13-year-old boy or whatever. I was the same age as Carl at that point, close to at least. So it hit me. It really did. And I was watching it and it made me tear up. And it was characters I didn't even know. So at that point, I realized, okay, if a show is going to make me tear up and I don't even know the characters, it's a good show then. I should go back and watch the rest of it. So I did. And there you go. That's how I got into The Walking Dead in the first place. So this scene is really important to me in that aspect. But even other than that, it's very important, obviously, for Carl's character, even Maggie's character to a degree, because Maggie has to witness this shit and deliver Judith. And the whole scene from, you know, her realizing she has to give birth and then having to struggle to get Lori into a safe space to deliver the baby, and then realizing that the only option is to cut her open and take the baby out, which is all definitely going to kill her. She knows it's the only option, but she wants to keep the baby alive. She did not go through 9 months of pregnancy just for the baby to die. So she says, shit, you gotta cut me open. And even if the baby does die, what if it turns into a walker and rips her open from the insides? We don't know if babies work like that in the show, but they might. So what if that happened? That would have been terrible. So they obviously get into the situation where they have to cut her open. There's no way to, you know, stitch her back up. They don't have the equipment for that. This is a hopeless moment. Again, another hopeless moment. But the conversation that Lori has with Carl here, not really conversation, Lori's just talking to Carl. Carl doesn't even know how to speak at this point because he's just so heartbroken. And she's just telling him, you're going to beat this world, all these things. It's just a beautiful moment.
The best thing I ever did. I love you. I love you. My sweet, sweet boy, I love you.
I really enjoy it, and I think Carl's character, I just, like I said, I didn't really like, if you guys watched my character ranking, I didn't like Carl's character past season 4, really, so I'm not really blaming Chen Riggs for that, to be honest. I just think they didn't do much with this character after that. They just didn't give him much to do. They didn't give him anything that I really was interested in, so I don't know. But the moment itself was still incredibly impactful regardless, and I think it's a beautifully executed moment, and I really like it. Number 4, I'm kind of cheating with this one, but it's going to be from Negan's introduction all the way to Glenn and Abraham's death.
Pissing our pants yet?
So that entire thing, I know it's 2 completely different episodes, but I don't care. We're taking that entire chunk of the show, just put it together, smush it together. Forget the cliffhanger even happened, and just smush that together as one scene, and it's a fucking masterpiece of a scene. It just is. Like, this is The Walking Dead at, in my opinion, the greatest directing and editing it's ever had. From, of course, Negan's speech alone, right? That whole 10-minute speech, I can still memorize it by heart because it's so iconic. It's such an iconic speech. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan's acting performance in that is just stellar. It's stellar.
First one's free. It's an emotional moment. I get it.
Seeing him coming out of the RV first and getting those lines straight from the comics. I didn't even care that there was no F-bombs. Actually, I did when it first happened, but whatever. I know there's an uncensored version that they have, but it's honestly not as good for some reason. But I think it's just fine without the F-bombs. And then building it up to him killing someone and the tension building that it has. And then obviously cliffhanger. I don't like the cliffhanger, but just forget it exists for a second. And just we go right to episode 1 of season 7. And then again, it builds the momentum back up because, you know, it's a new episode, so we had to build it back up. We see Rick there, and even that one scene in the beginning where Rick's just sitting there and he's like, I'm gonna kill you.
Not today. Not tomorrow. But I'm gonna kill you.
And he takes him to the RV, and then we get these flashbacks of all of those scenes that Rick sees from these characters. And then that scene, when we get there, I mean, it's the most tension-building, intense scene in The Walking Dead history. Just the amount of, like, just emotions that come off of you during the scene is just insane. Because it's really building things up. And it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch, especially for the first time. Whenever I watch someone's reaction, you could see their heart, like, pounding out of their damn chest. Even if you knew it was going to happen, even if you were spoiled, it doesn't matter. It doesn't take away the fact that, holy shit, someone's about to get their heads bashed in. And they show it. They show it. They don't really shy away from it. So seeing Abraham have it happen to him first was heartbreaking enough. But the whole way that was done, like I said, was just insanely well executed. And then, of course, Daryl punching Negan, Glenn, then now getting his head bashed in right after that because Negan does not fuck around. He says, no exceptions. And he does it.
But I'm a man of my word. First impressions are important. I need you to know me. So, back to it.
And we get one of our fan favorite characters getting his head bashed in right in front of us. And it is a gruesome scene, but it needs to be gruesome. It needs to be gruesome for it to be effective, and it was effective. It was one of the most effective scenes in The Walking Dead history. And that's what makes this episode so amazing. That's what makes this one of the best moments in the show, for sure. It's definitely one of the most impactful moments. This is a turning point in the show for a lot of reasons. Number 3 is going to be taking Alexandria back in No Way Out. So No Way Out as a whole episode I can probably put as one of the best scenes, but in particular the end from I would say around the point when all the Alexandrians start coming out to help fight the herd to the end montage when all the characters just swipe out the herd and they end up killing the whole herd. That whole thing is just incredible. You have this really awesome story that I really like with the herd arc, because at this point in the show Rick doesn't really like Alexandria that much. We know he doesn't. He just got there, and he doesn't like a lot of people. He thinks that people need to change because they're really weak. But he likes the walls there. He likes the fact that there's walls. But if you didn't have this arc, the problem is I don't think he would care when Negan rolled up and stuff and was threatening to kill people if you don't give him your stuff. Rick would have just left. If they didn't do No Way Out in this whole herd arc, I think Rick would have just said, all right, peace out. We'll go somewhere else, and they just leave in the middle of the night or something and just run far away. But because of this arc, they don't do that. Because of this arc, they care for Alexandria. Because of this arc, they care for the Alexandrians. That's why it's so damn important. And it's so important because Rick gets to see in this episode, in this moment, that the other people in the community, they can fight. They can. They just need that fear in them to give them the ability to gain the courage to want to go out and actually fight walkers. And in this moment, they do. And we get some of the most badass walker killing moments ever. I mean, I know this is not in the same moment, but you go back like 10 to 15 minutes in the episode, Rick killing those walkers right after he gives Carl to Denise to get the help with his eye. Probably the best choreographed walker action I've ever seen in The Walking Dead. Just Rick slamming that axe down, going through the walkers like it's nothing. It's just a whole one shot. I love that, man. This is so well done. And then, like I said, the end of the episode, that whole sequence, amazing music. Daryl shoots the RPG into the lake, and then the fire comes, and then everyone's just slicing through the walkers. We get to see Gabriel slicing Eugene, and of course it ends with Rick, and it's just... It's fucking cinema, man. It's fucking cinema. Number 2 is going to be Joe getting his throat bitten out by Rick in season 4 episode 16. So this moment, I talked about this in my season ranked video, but I have to talk about it again because it's just such a freaking amazing scene. This moment is a culmination of a lot of what happened in season 2 with Shane, because for the longest time, Rick was being told by Shane that he doesn't think that he can keep Lori and Carl safe. Or at least he was only told that towards the end, but he was kind of hinting that for a while by going against a lot of his plans and ideas. And this is kind of the culmination of that because, well, Lori did die, right? So he wasn't able to keep Lori safe. But in this moment, he wasn't able to keep Carl safe from this guy. he wasn't. He was noticing that, and just the way the scene builds up is really, really intense. You know, I don't think any of them are gonna die in this moment, but regardless, it's still painful to see Carl getting like manhandled by this gross dude, and then, you know, Daryl getting his ass beaten up, and then Michonne's got a gun to her head, and then Rick's getting, you know, the shit kicked out of him too, and he just has to watch it in the beginning, and you don't know what this guy's gonna do to Carl, and it, like, you know, freaks everyone out. And then Rick just goes for it because he knows it's the only option. There's nothing else he can do here. This is literally the only thing he can do is bite out this man's throat, and he does it because he needs to keep his boy safe. He needs to. And biting out his throat is one thing. I love that. It's amazing. It just shows him becoming the Walking Dead, which is a quote he has in season 5. We are the Walking Dead. That's literally what he does here. He becomes a walker by biting Joe's throat, which is so fucking metaphorical, and it's so beautiful because of that. It's one of the reasons I love season 4 is there's so much symbolism and so much meaning behind everything. It's brilliant. And that happens. But what I love even more is when that one guy, we get to see probably the most satisfying kill in The Walking Dead, because I'd say that guy's probably one of the most nastiest guys in The Walking Dead based on what he was probably about to do to Carl. Seeing Rick take that knife and just fucking gut him like a fish, like, it is the coolest scene in The Walking Dead. I mean, it's gruesome, but you love seeing Rick do it.
Please.
You love it. You're cheering him on the whole time because that guy deserves it. And it's like, damn, that's my Rick Grimes right there. That's my Rick Grimes. I love this, man. This is the definitive Rick Grimes scene to me. But it's not the best scene. It's not the best scene. The best scene in The Walking Dead history is actually a scene that's just dialogue. Well, okay. I'll count more than just the dialogue, but it is Rick's pretty much whole conversation with the governor at season 4, episode 8, and Too Far Gone. I would say all of it is amazing, the dialogue, but particular his speech is, in my opinion, the best moment in The Walking Dead, if we're gonna take just like a singular moment. But you know, if you want to include the whole Too Far Gone battle as well, go for it. I love the battle, it's amazing, but I'm not even including that when I'm talking about this. I'm just talking about the conversation between them, because it is the definitive Walking Dead topic. It's all about, can you change? That's what the whole show is about. The whole show, if someone ever asks you what is The Walking Dead about, it's about how the apocalypse changes people. That's what the show is. It's not a zombie show. It's not this or that. It's literally just about, how does a zombie apocalypse change people? How does an apocalypse at all change people? How does crisis change people? How does PTSD and fear and all these traumatic things that happen, how does it change people? This show is all about that. And that's what this conversation is about. Can you change after already changing into something evil, after changing into something bad, right? Rick did that a little bit in season 3. He was kind of crazy, and he came back from that. He came back and he chilled out in season 4 because of the help of a lot of people, mainly Herschel. And Herschel was the one who taught him that he can come back, that he can change. And so Rick is now trying to share that wisdom with the governor. He's trying to tell him, we can work this out. We can help each other, and you can change. I believe it.
We let go of all of it, and nobody dies. Everyone who's alive right now, everyone who's made it this far, we've all done the worst kinds of things just to stay alive, but we can still come back. We're not too far gone. We get to come back. I know. We all can change.
And it's so impactful because the governor at this moment, he wants to change. You can tell he wants to change. He's wanted to the past couple episodes, but he realizes he can't in this moment. He realizes there's no going back. My past will always come up with me. No matter where I go, I run into Martinez. That's a metaphor for him. No matter where he goes, his past is going to come back. Which it could be, again, a mental thing, or literally a thing that happens with Martinez coming back, and then now he comes back to the prison. His past is just always coming back to him. So he doesn't think he can change. So in that moment, that's why he says liar. And then that's why he chops off Herschel's head.
Liar.
And it's one of the most holy shit moments in The Walking Dead because Herschel Solo was such a great character, and seeing him die like that, starting a whole ass battle, a final battle, and then seeing the prison just get destroyed in an episode. And Two Fort Gone's a masterpiece of an episode, and this scene is what I think makes it a masterpiece, or at least one of the biggest things about what makes it a masterpiece. The way it builds up to that moment of him getting his head chopped off and then him finishing the job as the battle is ensuing. It's just brilliant storytelling. It's brilliant storytelling. The way, I love it. I love season 4 because of that. Like I said, these two moments, the top two moments, are both from season 4. They both have so much impact, so much symbolism, so much just, it's amazing. I love it. I love it so much. Let me know your list in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about my list as well. I will see you all on my next one. Peace out.